Hey guys, this is Jonathan from Geek Society. I'm doing a review on Inside. This one I'm going to be doing by myself because Victor didn't have time to play with me. So let's get right into it. The first thing I would like to talk about with Inside is uh, the gameplay, obviously. And what impressed me about the gameplay is as you're playing the game, it actually teaches you how to play. So, for example, the first time you start out, you don't exactly know what to do, and visual cues just make it obvious that I need to move a block here, and I need to avoid this enemy, obviously, because if you don't the first time, you'll die. And the game never tells you how to do these things. And that's what's so impressive about it because in modern day games, we so much have to go through the first level being a tutorial or having actual tutorials or the game stopping itself to tell you what to do. And this takes more inspiration from classic games from the 90s and the 80s and further back than that, where they didn't have the time to really tell you how to do those things. And so the design of the game itself is what teaches you how to play the game. What is also incredible is the physics. Uh, it reminded me of when I played Half-Life 2 for the first time, where you just kind of like to even witness how things are going to play out. Like if I push this thing here, how is that going to happen? How is that going to roll down and hit that thing? And it makes for interesting puzzles. But like I said, it also makes it interesting to watch in itself and pleasurable to view. Another good example of fluidity in the game is just good game design is kind of like music. And there were moments even early on the game where some guys from the background come into the foreground and start chasing you. And then after you avoid them, there's dogs chasing you. And then right before the dogs get you, you have to leap off a cliff and you land in the water and now you're swimming. And it just makes it feel like you go from sneaking around to a huge chase and then you're calm again, going through the water, and then you come up and you have a puzzle. And it's just kind of like this slow tempo that goes into a fast tempo and then slows down again, and it reminds you of a good song. And this game does that in spades, and it's very interesting to play and feel that as if I'm dancing to music. What I would also like to discuss is the sound design. The beginning of the game, just the sounds of rain, or later on the sounds of machines, and I don't want to give too much away with the different environments, but it gives you a distinct sense of environment, and it doesn't even really have much music, but when the sound comes in, it's to emphasize either a transition to another kind of environment or something interesting happening. And it just, everything about the sound is there. You get the feeling is there purposefully and has a distinct effect to what is going on in the game. The 2D 3D effect is an interesting thing as well, since the time that started, people would discuss if you're going to have a side scrolling game, why have 3D backgrounds at all? But what this kind of gives the impression of is as if I'm watching a play where there's backdrop and people and things going on in the background, but the character and the things that I'm doing is obviously what's mostly important. Um, and what also happens as you play the game is you get the feeling through the body language of the character and the movements in the environment that it exudes sort of the tone of a silent movie, um, where you feel the story happening without text and without again being told anything, which makes me think even how much of what I thought was happening is through my own perspective, but it gives it a certain credibility when it comes to artistic value, since it is mostly up to interpretation. And I always enjoy when video games take inspiration from other mediums and works of art. Another thing that it obviously, to me, takes inspiration from video game wise is the are the classics Flashback and specifically Out of This World, which outside the states is known as Another World. And even the zombie guys that kind of help you out in the game even look a lot like the alien buddy from Out of This World. Where those games I played personally on the Super Nintendo, although I believe they were also for PC and Sega CD, where it was the exact same tone of game, where it told a story solely through movement and gameplay and environment. And they're both Flashback and Out of This World are two of my favorite games of all time. So I was very much pleased to play this game since it reminded me of those. By the end of my 4 hour game experience, it felt like had been on a journey, or at the very least, had a long, lucid dream. Although I felt the ending of the game was a bit weird and anticlimactic, again, it ties into the tone of the rest of the game where there is no clarity or explanation for what's going on, and everything, and I mean everything, is left up to interpretation. Who is this boy? What was he looking for? And what exactly played out is never flat out told. All in all, I would personally, on a scale from 1 to 10, rate this game an 8.5. I found it to be a very satisfying game experience. I think that the way the game plays out exhibits very good game design, as it didn't need to tell me anything. The sound was incredible, the art direction was incredible. But personally, I prefer to have a little bit more explanation so I could get more immersed in the experience, since that boy obviously knew what he was doing, and it bothers me a little that me as the player didn't. But overall, it's a great game. I would definitely recommend picking it up. It is currently an Xbox One exclusive, and it is currently going for $20. But since it is an independent game, and it is from the same guys that created Limbo, which was also a great game, I definitely think it's worth the price. So again, inside, an 8.5 from NYC Geek Society. And if you like this review, please like and subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell everybody you see on the streets. And have a great experience playing this game.